So my last video was about Phoenicia. Now I saw a link for the Canaanite religion, and that's how I got here. And I'm quite curious. So the Canaanite religion, or Syro-Canaanite religions, refers to the myths, cults, and ritual practices of people in the Levant during roughly the first 3 millennia BC. Okay, so a lot to unpack in this first sentence. We're seeing the word myths. We're seeing the word cults, which I don't think is like, this isn't the cult that we use in modern day English. For example, there was the cult of the Jim Jones cult, or Stargate cult. I think they were called Stargate, with the that group who all committed suicide, or David Koresh. This is a bit different. This is, I think, more. Yeah, this is definitely a different type of cult. A cult, in I think this context, is a reveration for a particular deity in a very particular and methodical way by a priest who worships that deity, who cultivates that deity, and usually. So I know that an example would be in ancient Greece. Zeus or Athena or Ares would each have their own cult and would be cultivated by the priests, and there would be all kinds of different rituals specifically for that god, and I think that's the type of cult that we're talking about here. The Levant, let's just hover for a second. So yeah, it's a sub-region. I think it's what's in green here. So it's this dark green region, and maybe the lighter green is if you want to really extend the locale. But traditionally it's this dark green, which comprises, looks like Israel, the Sinai, although that's lighter green. So Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria. Cyprus is also in dark green, and so is this dark part of Turkey. And in light green we have Greece, Turkey, Egypt, I think that's Tunisia, it might be Libya, and that would be Iraq. So, continuing. So the first 3 millennium BC that seems like the Bronze Age all the way to the Iron Age. Canaanite religions were polytheistic, and in some cases monolatristic, which I don't know what that is actually. Polytheistic, I think, is the belief in a set of deities and not just one, not one monolithic god. It's a set of gods and deities. And then monolatristic. Interesting. Okay, I don't know if you're. Yeah, you guys are definitely seeing this. If you're watching, and not just listening, you're going to see that it says the monolatry is the belief in the existence of many gods, but the constant worship of one. So they were influenced by neighboring cultures, particularly ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian religious practices. The Pantheon was headed by the god El and his consort, Asherah, with other significant deities, including Baal, Anat, Astarte, and Dagon. Interesting. Canaanite religious practices included animal sacrifice, veneration of the dead, and the worship of deities through shrines and sacred groves. The religion also featured a complex mythology, including stories of divine battles and cycles of death and rebirth. Archaeological evidence, particularly from sites like Ugarit, and literary sources, including the Ugaritic texts and the Hebrew Bible, have provided most of the current knowledge about Canaanite religion. So, let's keep going here. Sources and history. Let's go to list of deities and see how many we got here. Wow. A group of deities in a 4-tier hierarchy headed by El and Asherah were worshipped by the followers of the Canaanite religion. This is a detailed listing. Wow, look at how many we have here. It's a lot of deities. And this one, El, also called Elyon, or Most High, was the husband of Asherah. Look at this one. Yahweh, the national god of the Israelites, central figure in the worship of Yahwism. So let's check out this one, Mythology. This only relies on a single source, which is an issue. That's not always good. We like to have multiple sources. So, in the Baal cycle, Baal Hadad is challenged by and defeats Yam using 2 magical weapons called Driver and Chaser, made for him by Kothar wa Cassis. Afterward, with the help of Athirat and Anat, Baal persuades El to allow him a palace. El approves, and palace is built by Kothar Awasis. After the palace is constructed, Baal gives forth a thunderous roar out of the palace and challenges Mot. Mot enters through the window, swallows Baal, sending him to the underworld. With no one to give rain, there is terrible drought in Baal's absence. The other deities, especially El, and Anat, are distraught that Baal had been taken to the underworld. Anat goes to the underworld, attacks Mot with a knife, grinds him into pieces, and scatters him far and wide. With Mot dead, Baal is able to return and refresh the earth with rain. Interesting. Let's check out this section about the first millennium BC, which is interesting because that's the end of the Bronze Age and the beginning of the Iron Age. It happens at around 1200 BC. So during the first millennium BC, several distinct branches of Canaanite religion persisted, with the Hebrew Bible distinguishes Yahwism, practiced in the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. From Canaanite religion, scholars suggested it was in fact one of the Canaanite religions. Limited sources for religion in other parts of the southern Levant, such as Meshe Stele and the land of Moab, and the Deir Allah inscription in 700 BC. With its unique dialect. In the broader region of Syria, Aramaean religion is attested by sources as the Tel Fakra bilingual inscription, the Stele of Zakur, Sephar Stele, and such as the Hadad statue. Okay, so this is so there were broader. So Yahwism is just a branch. Throughout the Hellenistic period, in the non-Jewish parts of Canaan, Greek religion spread alongside pre-existing Canaanite traditions, rather than replacing them. There are plenty of similarities between both religions, and through a process of syncretism, Canaanite deities were given the names of the Greek equivalents. As the Phoenicians colonized the Western Mediterranean, there were also many texts attesting to the Punic religion, such as the Carthage Tariff and the Marseille Tariff. Interesting. Alright, well, there's definitely more to unpack here and more little rabbit holes to go down. Hope you guys enjoyed.